four-wheel drive launch. I'm gonna make sure it's in go forward mode. Build boost just on the foot brake. It actually was like 102 kPa. I don't think the tires are spinning at all either. I got the other camera set up, so hopefully we can actually see what's happening here. But I don't think anything's spinning. No spin. Alrighty guys, so got the thing home and I did my check every time I've been driving this thing, especially since the 4-wheel drive conversion. I've been checking everything to make sure that everything is still working properly, because I'm really concerned about like the drive shaft hitting the oil filter, which I'm sure you guys know if you've been following. So lo and behold, I got it home and look underneath. The front drive shaft has a little drip on it, and it's like got a whole bunch of oil on it and dripping off, but the oil filter is fine, so the drive shaft didn't hit it, and it's actually dripping from way up higher. So it's actually dripping from the shift linkage onto the drive shaft, and it's running down the bell housing. So I've been tracing this thing down, trying to track it back up, and I think it's valve cover gasket. I did check all the side here. This whole part of the block up here was all wet. Back corner of the head gasket was wet, but the front of the head gasket and everything looks fine and dry. It looks like it's just kind of collecting and pooling on the back. So one of two issues. Maybe there's a head gasket issue, but I'm kind of leaning towards valve cover. I think I've done this with you guys already, because I did replace these valve cover gaskets once, and then I blew one out, and then I ended up going back to this factory gasket. So if you look on the top side, everything's kind of like dry and crusty, except for when you get onto the bottom side. So even the bottom front side of the engine is dry and crusty, but then when you get to here, it's like completely clean. Nothing is dry on it. And that is basically like the bottom section where the engine is leaned back and collecting oil. So I think that it's just pushing out here. So what I'm going to try to do, because I've already replaced this gasket once, and then it blew out because it was a cheap gasket. I could wait for the other one, but what I think I'm going to do is RTV it. Pull this out, smear a little bead of RTV on it, and just see what happens. Okay, so here's what we got. I'm not going to do the whole thing. I just want to do the trouble area. So just basically did the bottom and back side of this gasket. Kind of cleaned everything up nice and smooth, and not a whole bunch of big chunks. And I'm going to stick it back on there and see what it does. Alright guys, so got that on. Definitely just a band-aid. So it tells me that there's definitely some kind of PCV issue or crankcase ventilation issue where I might need a catch can at this point. So keeping that in mind, but definitely want to cover that up. So I mean, there's no oil around any of the breathers. So I'm just leaving this vented and open on both the breathers on both sides. Both of them are completely dry, so it doesn't really tell me that oil is trying to escape, but it could be pooling in here, and if there is a little bit of pressure, it could be pushing it out, especially if the gasket isn't perfect. So that's my theory, but it might be time for something else. So we'll see what this thing does. Hopefully this is the last thing I'm going to have to do to it. I wasn't expecting to have to do that, but if this doesn't leak, I basically just want to be able to like park it in my driveway or in the road without it pissing oil all over the place, and then we'll take it to the track and hopefully we can run a 10. So that'd be the goal with the truck. Want to run a 10. I do want to put the slicks back on the truck and do a few two-wheel drive passes and see if we can kind of simulate what we did last year with the new converter and verify that that was what was holding us back. Other than that, I want to try to go for a 10-second pass with four-wheel drive on street tires. That would be the ultimate goal for the summer. So, alrighty, boys. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.